What's up, guys? So in this video I'm going to introduce you to Django authentication. So I'm going to show you how to implement user registration and login authentication in Django. For example, I can say I have a simple blog here. If I'm not logged in, I can't go down to the detail page of a particular blog post. For example, if I click on read more, I'm not logged in. You can see say sign up, login. I'm not logged in yet. So if I click on read more, I'm gonna say takes me down to the login page, so I can log in and access the read more page. You understand? But I'm not logged in, so I'm gonna simply create an account first. So create an account. So I'm gonna put this here. Simply say Ramos as my account, as my username. I'm gonna say ramos@gmail.com. I'm gonna put in this password. The same thing. So register. You can see there's an error popped up. It says this password is too common. So I'm gonna make sure the password is strict. I'm gonna do this now. Please sorry for the delay. So register. Perfect. You can see it's worked. You can see now up here it says accounts created successfully. You can now log in. So I want to log in now. I'm gonna put in the username I created, Raymond, and the password is this. So login. So now I am on the login page. I am on the home page now. It says hello Ramos. It says sign up now, and it's no longer login. It is now log out. So I can access the detail page of a particular blog post. For example, look now. Boom, you can see now I've gone to the detail page of the first blog post. You can see I can read more, I can drop comments. You understand? So in this video, I'm going to show you how to do authentication in Django, enable user to create accounts from the front end, and also be able to do some login authentication. So that's what I'll do. We're getting started right now. So if you've not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe as I make videos on Django and JavaScript. So without further ado, we're getting started right now. Now, working with this blog tutorial right here, you can see I can access the detail page if I'm not logged in. Just watch. Okay, you can see I'm not logged in. There is no sign up, login or log out on the navigation bar. So now I'm going to implement what I did here on this particular blog we have here. Understand? So first of all, let's go down to our text editor right now. Okay, so here's my text editor. I'm going to go down to my views.py. Okay, I'm in the views.py right now. So now I'm going to simply import Django user creation form. Django has built up a system for us that's going to enable us to create user from the front end. So I'm going to simply import this function. So let's do that. I'm going to say from Django dot contrib dot auth dot forms import user creation form. Okay, it's already imported now. So now I'm going to create a new function down here. I'm going to call this register user. Register user. So I'm going to hold in the request arguments. So I'm going to simply create a variable called form. I'm going to say form should be equal to the user creation form I just imported. Okay. After that, I'll simply do this now. If there's a post request, let me see if the submit button is being clicked after the user has imputed his or her details. I'm going to say if request.method is equal to post. I'm going to change the value of form. I'm going to say form is going to be equal to user creation form. but now we're going to have request.post inside of the parentheses. Request post. Okay, so I'm going to simply say if the form content is valid, if form dot is underscore valid, I will simply save the form. I'm going to say form dot save. Okay, so we've done that. After doing this, I want to also redirect down to the. Okay, no way. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna apply that. Okay, so we're gonna render. So let's render this form. Return render. Return render. So this return render is when there is no post request. For example, it said if there's a post request. So this return render is when there's a get request instead. Now be return render request. So want to like render the HTML page. Gonna be simply called register.html, and it's gonna have the context. Gonna pass in the form. Yeah. So that's it. Okay, so after we've created this function, we need to create a URL path for this function called register user. So we're going to the URL.py file right now. So let's create a new path for the new function we created. So I'm going to call this register, and it's for the views.register user function. Views.register user. I'm going to give it a name equal to register. Okay, after I've done this, now save your work. Now get down to the browser, and here we are on this particular page. So I'm going to say blog/register, enter. Oh, we don't even have the template, sorry for that. So we're going to create this template register.html. So let's create that template now. So I'm going to come here in my templates. I'm going to create a file called register.html from my views.py. You can see it's called register.html here. So let's create this template. Let's say register.html, enter. Okay, created. Now I'm gonna simply put in the form attribute form method equal to post, and I'm gonna put in the button input type should be equal to submit, and value should be register. Yep. So I'm gonna pass in my form now. The form I have in the views.py. So I'm gonna pass in this form instead of this register.html template. So let's pass in the form. So I'm gonna put in the form here. Okay, save now. Okay, refresh the page now. Perfect. You can see now we have our user creation form on the page, but it's not looking good. You can see it's filled up with text. A normal form shouldn't have all this much text we have here. It's not looking good in any way at all. Okay, I'm going to show you how to render just the fields, just the input fields, the username, the password, and confirm password field. Okay, you can simply do something like this. You can simply say form.username. Okay, don't worry. You can see I'll simply look through the form, something like this. You can say for putting the percent. Simply say for, let's say for field in form, and end the for loop. Don't forget that. I'll simply do something like this now. Simply put in field. So save now to the browser. So refresh. Now we have the three fields. So I can also put in their labels by just doing something like this. Field.label. to save, refresh. Perfect. You can see now they all have their labels attached to them. But even if you notice in a normal registration form, there's always an input field for email address. But you can see here our user creation form does not come with the email address. It only came with the user, the password, and the password confirmation field. So now I'm going to customize this user creation form and make sure it has the field for email address. So that's what I'll do. We're going to do that right now. The way we are going to add this email field to this form, we're going to go down to our forms.py file. If you don't have this file, you can simply create this file inside of your app, inside of your Django app. You understand? Create a file called forms.py. So now I've created my file now, forms.py. So I'm going to import that user creation form again. I could simply copy from here to save time. Copy from here and paste here. Okay, I have it here now. So I'm going to do something similar to the model form, to the Django model form. I'm going to do something similar to that now. I'm going to simply say class is going to be equal to, let's say, register form, register form. And now we're going to be inheriting from the user creation form. You know, before it used to be model dots. It used to be forms.model form. But now we're going to be inheriting from the user creation form. And we're going to also import the Django user. I'm going to say from Django.contrib.auth.models imports user. Okay, it's imported already. So after we've done this now, I'm going to simply say class method. I know you know this already. And we're going to put in the model, which is this. We're going to be saving to this user model, you understand? So I'm going to say user and fields is going to be equal to. So now I'm going to put in the fields. Now I'm going to put in username. Now I'm going to add in the email field. Now you can see email field. And for the password, you know we have two passwords, the password and the password confirmation. So for the password, for the first password, we're going to put in password 1. That is how it is written in the documentation, password 1. And for the confirmed password, we're going to put in password 2. That is how it is in the documentation. So save your work. So after you've done this now, we're going to simply import this register form to our views.py. So let's import it right now. So I'm going to say from .forms import register form. So I already have from .forms up here. I'll simply import register form. Okay, and now in my register user function, I'm going to replace user creation form with the register form I just imported. Understand? So let's do that now. Register form, register form, and save your work now. So get onto the browser. You see now we're going to have the email field as part of this now. So refresh. Now as you can see now we have the email address field. So now, okay, after we've done this now, all we need to do is this. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is this. I'm gonna get the actual form template. So I have it here. So over here, so register.html. So here's the actual form template. So I'm gonna copy this and paste in my. So now I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna simply comment this out now and paste the actual form template. Here's the actual form template we have here. You understand? So we have the form, we have the input fields. If you watch closely, we have the input field for each of the input field we have currently. So now I'm going to replace each of these input field with our form we have, with the form that's coming on the back end. So I'm going to, for the username, I'm going to simply put form.username. For the password field, form password 1. For the email, form.email. From just like something from the forms.py we have here. So I'm going to say form.username for the username field, form.email for the email field, form.password 1 for the first password, and form.password 2 for the confirm password field. So let's do that in the template I just imported. So we're going to do that right now. So let's get down to the register.html page. So now you can see from our views.py, we have the form being passed to this our register.html page. So up here, I'm going to simply put in form.username, and can see this form has a class name, this class form control. Each of the fields has this class of form control, and they also have their placeholder. So I'm going to use Django to add this class to the form fields and also add the placeholder to each field. Understand? So now I'm going to simply comment this out. I'm going to do that for all of them. Comment them out and put in the actual Django form. Yep. So we've done this now. So I'm gonna for this first one, I'm gonna simply do this form.username. Okay, for the second one, which is email, it's gonna be form.email. For the Now for the password, the first password gonna be form.password1. Form.password1 is coming from here. If you look well from my form.py, the Django documentation said for the first password, call it password1. For the confirm password, password2. Okay, so now for the confirm password, I'm going to call it form.password2. So save. So that's it now. So let's see our page right now. Refresh. Oh, there's an error. It said extend node, extend base.html. Okay, I made a mistake in the extend base.html. Extend base.html. Maybe I should remove what is on top. So save your work. Refresh page. Okay, you can see now how my form. You can see now. You can see how my form is looking. Okay, you can see my form has changed shape, but there is something still wrong. This form field still looks like normal HTML. From what I showed you here, you see that the form has a class of form control, and they also have a placeholder. So I'm going to add this class to the form field and also the placeholder. So let's do that right now. I'm going to go down to my forms.py. So now I'm going to create a variable from the name from the fields I have here. I'm going to create a variable from the fields I have here. I'm going to create 4 variables. I'm going to simply call them. First one is username. Username, I said. So I'm going to say username is equal to. I'm going to say forms. Username is going to be equal to forms or character field. Okay, after I've done that now, I'm going to create a max length. Just follow this syntax equal to, let's say 100. So I'm going to create a widget. I'm going to have a widget equal to, let's say, forms dot text input. It's the normal text input. I'll be the username field. Form dot text input. Okay, I'm going to put in the parentheses. I'm putting attributes attrx. It's going to be equal to this curly braces. After I've done that, you're going to put in the class. The class instance from here, register.html. You can see we're going to put in this class of form control and the placeholder of enter username. So let's do that right now. Forms.py. So we're going to put in the class. I'm going to say form control. We're going to put in placeholder, which is inside a parenthesis, inside a string, inside a double quotes, placeholder. I'm going to simply say enter username. Enter username. So save. So that's it for the username. So I'm going to copy this and do for the password, the email, and the confirm password. So for the email, I'm going to call this email. It's called email over here. I'm going to change this to email. So I'm going to call it forms of character field. So the widget is going to be forms email inputs. Email inputs. Understand? So I'm gonna put in the form control class, and it's gonna be enter email. So do the same thing for my password. I'm gonna call this password one. Form dot chat field, it's gonna be form dot password inputs, and they're gonna be called enter password. Do the same thing for my password 2. I'm gonna call this password 2. Change this to password inputs, and change this to password enter password. Okay, save now and get down to the browser. Refresh the page. You can see now it's looking beautiful. If you watch closely, you can see our form is now looking beautiful. You can see confirm password is having the class of form control inside. So now what we need to do now, so let's try creating a new user. So I'm going to put in a new user. I'm going to call this person, let's say Dayo. I'm going to put in the email address, let's say dayo@gmail.com. I'm going to put in a password, let's say this. So login, not login, register, not log. It's gonna be called register. So down in my register.html, I'll change this to register and not login. So save. What I'm gonna do now is this. I'm gonna simply get down to the admin section, so and see if this layer was actually created. Understand? I'm gonna simply say to my admin and see if that was actually created. So let's try logging in. So go to users. You can see we have Dio here. You can see our form is working. The form is working. You can see we have Dio over here. So what we need to do now is that we've done the registration form, right? So refresh the page. So you have register down here. Send. Or there is an error. A CSRF token needs to be added. Watch closely. You can see I'm having an error saying CSRF token missing, but in my code here it's not missing. I have CSRF token here, so simply save. I don't know why it's acting like that now. Okay, refresh the page again. Oh, so get down to register. Okay, never mind. I think it should work this time around. So what I want to do now is that now we've created the registration form. So let's work on the login form right now. So let's go create a view for the login form. Okay, before we create this view, we're going to do some importing. We're going to import login, the logout, and authenticate. So let's do that right now. I'm going to simply say from Django.contrib.auth import authenticates login and logout to save. So you have imported these three functions. They're going to be super helpful for us in our login functions. Let's create this function. Say def equal to login function, login user rather. That's the name of our function. Okay, after I've done this now, oh, this is too big, so I want so you guys can see well. I'm not passing the quest arguments. After that now, we're going to simply return render. So return render going to say request. Once we done the HTML, we're trying to render the login page. I'm going to say login.html, login.html, and I'm going to pass in the context here. Okay, after we've done that now, I'm going to create this login.html file. Let's create it first. Login.html. So created. So now I have the template right here. I'm going to simply copy from here. So let's paste. So now I think now I have the I have the file. Okay, it's ready. Nice. So get down to the views.py. So let's get down to the I'm going to create a URL path for this login user function, just like the way we did for our register users. So let's create a URL path. So put in the comma here. I'm going to call this login. I'm going to say views.login user. I'm going to call this login. Okay, it's done. So get onto the browser and we're going to redirect to login. Enter. Perfect. You can see our login form is presented here. So now what I want to do is this. I want to get the value of my username and the value of the password and check if these names are already in the database. Understand? So I'm going to get the value of the username, the value for the password. So let's do that right now. Get down to the views.py now. So let's get the values. So down here, I'm going to create a variable called username. I'm going to say username should be equal to, I'm going to say requests dot posts. How is it done again? Okay, there's going to be this request dot posts dot get username, and this username is gotten from the value of the name attributes of our username field. Just something here. I said the username I put there is gotten from here. The value of the name attributes of the username field. Password, I'm going to call this one password, should be equal to requests dot post dot get password one. Understand? We're trying to get the what was it called again? The value of this password field. And from here, from our login.html, if you look at the name attributes here, name attributes of our password field is called password one. So let's do that right now. Put in password one, password one. So save now. So after we've done this now, we're going to create a variable called user. We're going to say user should be equal to authenticate. Now I want to authenticate this thing and check. What we want to do now is we want to authenticate the username and the password and see if they are available in the database, and also to check if they match, if the password match with the username, and if the username is also available in the database. So I'm going to say authenticate. It's going to pass in the request arguments first, and now I'm going to say username should be equal to the username we have here. Okay, and password should be equal to the password we have here. Okay, done. So now we're going to pass in. So we're going to pass in this now. We're going to put in an if statement. We're going to say if user underscore, if user is not known, rather if user is not known, that means if you that's to say if user exists. If user is not known, so we're going to do this. we'll simply log in the user. I'm going to simply say login. You know, I imported login, the login function up here. So simply log in the user. I'm going to say login requests and user, the user we created here. So that done. Save now. After we've logged in the user, want to get redirected to the home page. I'm going to say return redirect. Want to get redirected back to the home page. So I'm going to check the name value for our home page. You can see our home page here has the name of blog index. So I want to direct to this blog index here. Copy. Return redirect blog index. So save. So that's it now. I'm going to write an else statement in case the user does not exist. I'm going to say else do this. So we're going to pass a message that's going to pop up if the user does not exist, and this message is going to say invalid credentials. So first of all, we're going to import messages from Django. I'm going to simply say from Django.contrib import messages. So I'm going to simply do this now. I'm going to simply say messages. For example, this is to say that if the user does not exist, messages.info. I'm going to pass in the request argument and simply say, I'm going to simply say invalid credentials as the message. Invalid credentials. Okay, that's it for the login user. That's all we need to do here. So now I'm going to go back to my register user function. So what I'm trying to do now is this. If the user has registered, wants to redirect the user to the login page. Understand? If the form has been saved, if the user has registered finished, want to get them redirected to the login page. So I'm going to simply copy this. I'm going to redirect them to the login page. Change this to login. The login is coming from our URLs.py file here. Understand? Okay, so after we've redirected to the login page, I also want to like pop up a message that says accounts created successfully. You can now log in. So I'm gonna put in this again. I'm gonna say messages.info. I'm gonna simply say requests. I'm gonna put in this message saying accounts created successfully. Created successfully. And you can now log in. You can now log in. So save. So that's all we need to do now. And now I found I made a mistake somewhere. Down in my login user, it should be if this should run if there's a post request. Understand? This what I have in my body, what I have in the body of the function login user should get executed whenever there's a post request. So now I'm going to simply say if request dot method is equal to posts. So now I'm going to copy all this to save. Okay, that's all we need to do there. So save now. We're going to go down to the browser. But before I go down to the browser, what I want to do is these messages that we are passing now, these messages that is in the login user and the one that is in the register user, I want to make sure these messages appear in the login.html page. Just there, up here, I want the message to appear here. So what I simply do now that I loop through the message. I'm going to add some messages. You can see we already have two messages. I'm going to loop through them and pass in one at a time. Understand this message here, and I added a class to the message to make it look beautiful. You understand? So now save now, get onto the browser, So I'm going to go down to the register register form, to the create user form. So now let's try creating a new user. I'm going to call this person, let's say, oh, okay, I'm short of usernames now. I'm short of names. I'm going to pick some favorite footballers. I'm going to call Depay as a name. I'm going to call this person Depay. The name of the username. His email address should be dpay@gmail.com. At gmail.com. A password. I'm going to put this. So register. Oh, this is there's an error somewhere. And see, there's an error. That's why we were not redirected to the login page. You understand? So how are we gonna know the kind of error we encountered? We don't know the error we encountered. So I'm gonna put in this in my forms in my register.html. So just scroll down to the end. So just before the register button, put in this form.errors. It's gonna show you the errors you encounter. Form.errors. So save now to the browser, refresh the page. It said the password is too common. So I'm going to make the password harder now. I'm going to say this. So I intentionally made the password to be different. You can see this is longer than this. So register. You can see now the error it says now, it says the two password fields didn't match. So I'm going to put in the perfect password now. So register. Perfect. You can see now we are on the login page. It says accounts created successfully. You can now log in. So now I'm going to put in the login details here again and log into the site. So I'm going to do this. So login. Perfect. You can see we are now logged in. We are now on the home page of our blog. You understand? So all we need to do now is this. So I'm going to go down to the login page and put in a wrong login details. Let's put in the wrong login details, put in something different here. So click on login. You can see it says invalid credentials. You can see everything is working super fine. So now what I want to do is this. Now I want to make sure that whenever we are logged into the page, whenever we are logged in, something like this, you should have the name of the username here, and you should have the logout button by the side. Something just like this. If a user is logged in, we have the sign up on the logout button. Understand? So click on the logout. Watch and see. You can see the user has been logged out. So now we have the sign up on the login button. So let's do that right now. Okay. So now I'm going to go down to my base.html file. Go down to the nav bar where I'm going to place those buttons. If you watch closely, I have some commented codes here, so I'm going to remove the comments. I'm going to scroll down, remove the comments. So save now, get onto the browser. There is it here. So refresh the page. Well, you can see I have all these buttons. You can see I have them. So now what I want to do is this. I'm going to add an if statement to the base.html. I'm going to add an if condition. Just watch. So now we're just going to scroll up. Okay, just from this point here, yes. So I'm going to say if the user is logged in, it's going to show me the name of the user here. I'm going to point out the sign up button and the logout button. If the user is logged in, there is no need putting the login button there. It should be the logout. So the user should log out after he has been logged in. Understand? So let's do that right now. So just inside this UL is a container. just inside of the UL container, I'm going to do this. Simply say if requests request.user dot is authenticated. Make sure it's spelled correctly. So now I'm gonna say if request.user dot is authenticated. So I'm gonna simply put in the name of the user. I'm gonna simply do this. I'm gonna simply say requests dot user, not just dot user, but dot request dot user dot username. So that's it now. So this to show that it says that if the user is logged in, so I'm going to show the name of the user, hello Clinton, hello John, hello David. So we're also going to do this. We're also going to show the sign up button, which is just underneath the name. Understand? So after that, we also want to also show the logout button. Understand? So after I've done that, what I want to do next is this. So after you showed the name of the user, hello Daniel, the sign up button and the logout button if the user is logged in. So I'm going to write an else statement here. Else. I'm going to say that means if the user is not logged in, we're going to just show the sign up button and the login button, and make sure you end your if. Come down here and say end if. That's all you need to do there. So get onto the browser now. You can see all this will disappear and the relevant one will going to be showing on the nav bar. So refresh the page. Okay, there is no logged in user. You can see we have sign up and login. So I'm going to add the login and sign up link to this respective button. So let's do that right now. So here for the login, okay, I'm going to simply put in the do this now URL, and this is going to be called login. So I'm going to copy this for different. So for the sign up, paste this here. It's going to be called register, and for the logout, paste it here. It's going to be called logout. Okay, for the sign up also, paste here. It's going to be called register. So save. Okay, to the page now. Refresh. Just click on sign up. Now we're on the sign up page now. Okay, so I'm going to click on the login. So login. Once you log in, we're not creating an account. So I'm going to simply say the pay. Remember his name and password. So login. Oh, we're having an error. Okay, it says that logout is not a valid view function. Okay, that's because I included logouts here when I don't have the function yet. Okay, where is it also included? Okay, save now. Refresh the page now. Perfect. You can see we have LODP. It says sign up and log out. So now what we want to do now is we want to work on the logout function, so you can be able to log out a particular logged in user. So it's not difficult. So get down to the views.py and create this function. So scroll down out user. You say def logout underscore user, passing the request argument. So this is very simple. So what I'm going to simply do is this going to simply say logout. I'm going to simply say logout and put in requests. So this function going to simply log out the particular logged in user. So you're going to return back to the home page, return, redirect. call it blog index. That's what it's called, log index underscore index. Save now. So I'm going to create a URL path for this particular function, logout user. So just copy this and paste here. Call this logout. This should be called logout user, and this logout. So save. Okay, done. Okay, I think that's done now. So let's go create, put in, I'm going to add that URL back here. Copy this. Paste here and change this to logout. So save to the browser. So refresh the page. Okay, now we're going to log out the page that is currently logging. Just click on the logout button. Oh, there's an error. Oh, so what could have been the cause of this? Let's say our URL.py file again. Logout username, logout. So save your work. Get onto the views.py again. Save the browser. Refresh. Okay, I finally found out the problem of this error we're having on the screen. It's currently here. You can look here in my terminal. You can see the last curly braces is not just at the back, just here. So now let's go down to the base.html. That's where it should be. So scroll down. Okay, you can see we should have the coily braces there. So save now. So return back to the page. So try logging out the page. Oh, the same error. Refresh the page. Log out the page now. Perfect. You can see the page has been logged out. So I'm going to try one more sign up now. So let's try. I'm going to try, let's say, Messi. I'm going to say Leo at gmail.com. Password. I'll put in this password. Argentina 123. So register. You can see it says accounts created successfully. You can now log in. You can now log in. So I'm going to put in again the name. So login. Oh, it says invalid credentials. Where are we making mistake? Oh no. So login. Perfect. You can see we are now logged in. Messi is currently logged in. You can log out. Log out. Messi is logged out now. We have sign up and log in. You understand? So now what I want to do is this. I want to restrict the detail page of a particular blog post. For example, if a user is not logged in, they can still access the detail page of the blog post we have here. So if I click on the read more, you can see I can go down to the detail page when I'm not logged in. So I'm trying to add a restriction to users that are not logged in. So you can only get to this page if you are logged in. So let's do that right now. So we are going to be working with the login with the decorators, Django decorators. Understand? I'm going to work with the one called login required. So you're going to import this login required right now. It's going to be from django.contrib.auth.decorators import login required. So you're going to add this login required on the detail view function. It's going to be added on the detail view function. So let's do that right now. So get onto the detail view function, put in the @ symbol, the login required, parentheses, and login URL is going to be equal to our login view, the login function. Understand? So I'm going to put in login. This is to say that if a user is not logged in, they're going to be redirected to the login view. Understand? If a user is not logged in, they'll be redirected to this login view so they can log in and access that particular page. Understand? So let's see now. Get onto the home page now. So we are on the blog page right now. So currently refresh the page. So let's see. I'm going to try accessing the detail page of the first blog post. Click on read more. You can see now I've been redirected to the login page, so I can log in. If I'm not logged in, I can't access the page. So I'm going to log in now. So I'm going to log in with the pay because I still remember his name and password. So log in. Because the pay is currently logged in, so I think I can access the page now. Try clicking on the read more. Perfect. You can see now we're on the read more. We are now on the detail page of the full stack for development blog post. We can read more on it. You can drop comments. So we've been able to build a login authentication system with Django whereby users can create accounts. You can get them authenticated. You can log them out, log them in, just that now. So you'll be able to do that in this video. I really hope you really learned something. I hope you learned something from this tutorial. If you did, why not smash the like button for me and subscribe to my channel. So without further ado, we are currently done with this tutorial, so we'll see in the next video. So stay blessed, peace, and bye bye.